need to do more to support a journey into treatment and recovery, to keep communities safe, and to address the tragic impact of substance abuse.
Closing some safe injection sites in Ontario. The Ford government's plan to protect schools and childcare centres.
Tonight, their new approach to address addictions in the province. Good evening. Ontario's health minister says it's about shifting the focus to recovery, treatment, and community safety.
It will mean the closure of 10 drug consumption sites in the province, 5 in Toronto. But critics say lives will be lost because of it. We'll have community reaction in a moment. But first, CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live with the details of today's announcement. Siobhan.
Well, this is definitely a big shift. It's one the health minister insists will get more people off the streets and into recovery, but the recovery will be done differently. The Minister of Health stresses Ontario's approach to addiction isn't working.
That accepts and promotes the use of illegal drugs over treatment and recovery.
Announcing an overhaul intended to get more people help and keep communities safe.
We will ban drug consumption sites within 200 meters of schools and childcare centres.
It means 10 of Ontario's 17 supervised consumption sites will close. 5 of them in Toronto, including near Yonge and Dundas and in South Riverdale. That's where Carolina Hubner-Macarat was killed by a stray bullet last summer. By the end of March, those spots won't be able to offer safer drug supply, supervised drug use, or a needles exchange.
You will have to make a decision. You can shut down that site, or you can transition into a heart hub and offer the treatments so that people get out of the addictions.
The government is pledging $378 million to set up 19 of these homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs.
Primary care, integrated mental health and addictions care, social services and employment support, increased availability for shelter beds and supportive housing.
There will be legislation this fall to outlaw opening new safer supply or consumption sites and symbolically block cities from asking to decriminalize drugs. The Minister of Health bats away warnings that people will lose their lives in this transition.
People are not going to die. They're going to get access to service. You know, I do not call watching someone inject an illicit drug to be healthcare in the province of Ontario.
Jones expects to approve treatment hubs by the end of the year.
As for the 7 sites that will be staying open, there are plans to develop security plans for those sites that will include discouraging loitering and de-escalation techniques. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Safe consumption sites are controversial, sparking debate over how to address an addiction crisis while balancing community safety. CTV's Natalie Johnson joins us live with reaction to today's announcement. Natalie.
Well, Nathan, harm reduction workers are furious about the move, saying that the consumption sites have saved hundreds, if not thousands, of lives. Now 5 of those sites in Toronto are slated to be shut down.
In this Leslieville stretch of Queen East, where the community health centre is home to a supervised consumption site, there are mixed feelings among residents about the provincial plan to shut down the service.
Given the realities of the opioid epidemic, I think it should sort of be all hands on deck.
Definitely needed, but I have a feeling because of the proximity to schools, it's a bit of an issue.
It was here that local mother of 2, Carolina Hubner-Macarat, lost her life last year, fatally struck by a stray bullet during a shooting in front of the health centre, leading the government to review the consumption sites province-wide.
I think it became the excuse.
Community and crisis worker Diana Chan McNally says the province's plan prioritizes politics over policy.
If we close down a number of these sites, we're going to see a death toll rising out on our streets. And for people who are concerned about people using drugs, it will be much more visible.
We need supervised consumption sites, harm reduction and treatment, a comprehensive system of care. And pulling away one aspect of that without any evidence whatsoever, based on quite simply fear-mongering, we're going to have a very, very detrimental effect.
Toronto's police chief saying the force will keep a close eye on the impact as part of its opioid crisis response.
We'll take it under consideration and make sure that we are looking at all the different impacts that these announcements have and that our response is appropriate.
The city's Board of Health chair, though, not mincing words.
If sites are forced to close, we will see more public drug use in our parks and in our laneways. We will see more discarded needles on our streets.
In Leslieville, despite the tragedy that occurred here last summer, there is compassion for the people who rely on this consumption site.
If people had more empathy, they would not let things like that close.
Where are they going to go? This is an ongoing issue in Toronto, I think, in general, that these people definitely need locations that can provide them support.
Support that the province says will come in the form of treatment. And Mayor Olivia Chow released a statement saying that although she welcomes additional funding for treatment, she is concerned that closing existing harm reduction services will lead to more overdose deaths and greater strain on the system. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Also tonight, the return of Chad Kelly. What the Toronto Argonauts quarterback had to say today as he spoke for the first time since being reinstated by the CFL following his suspension.
But first, let's take a live look outside, and the cooler conditions continue. It was clear earlier today, but the clouds have rolled in. The good news is the temps will rise by the weekend. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions. Jess.
We've seen some spotty showers in the downtown core. We've seen it kind of push its way up towards Barrie and out through Pickering over the past half hour or so. And we're looking at a relatively clear night ahead of us. A few light clouds out there. We've seen a cooler day. That's no surprise. A northwesterly wind really doing a lot to aid in that bit of a cool down. Sitting in the kind of mid to upper teens, low 20s in some areas, but we are significantly cooler than we should be. We're looking at 18 through the islands, the same through Pearson tonight, dropping down to just 10, and there are some single-digit lows this evening. But as Nathan mentioned, there is a rebound on the way. Coming up your forecast right now. Back to Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Jess. A football star is finally speaking out about being suspended by the Canadian Football League amid allegations of sexual harassment.
Toronto Argonauts quarterback Chad Kelly was back practicing with his team after being reinstated for violating the league's gender-based violence policy. CTV's Sean Leithong joins us live with more on what Kelly had to say today. Sean.
Michelle and Nathan, Chad Kelly was remorseful when speaking today, saying he was sorry, saying he's learned, saying he will be a better man. And the CFL is saying you have no choice. The work Chad Kelly is putting in at practice is, according to him, but a fraction of what needs to be done.
I'm sorry for my actions. I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I affected a lot of people, my teammates, my coaches, women, my family.
The Toronto quarterback was the league's most outstanding player last season. He was also accused of sexual harassment by a former Argos strength and conditioning coach who says she was wrongfully dismissed after informing the team of his actions. Kelly initially denied the allegations. In May, the CFL suspended Kelly for the preseason and 9 regular season games following an independent investigation that found he violated the league's policy on gender-based violence.
I have to own up to my mistakes, and I know what I did wrong, and I've learned from it.
The CFL reinstated Kelly on what they're calling a last chance agreement, where he must follow a number of conditions.
I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take a lot of effort, but, you know, I'm here for it.
When Kelly came to the CFL, his reputation followed. As a player, he was dismissed from college team Clemson for conduct detrimental to the program, and later in the NFL by the Denver Broncos following an arrest in 2018. Matthew Shinetti from TSN says the CFL is being very careful with this last chance agreement.
There are no more second, third, fourth, fifth chances. This is your last chance because no longer, I don't think the CFL wants their reputation to be tied to Chad Kelly.
While teammates appear to be welcoming Kelly back, some fans remain hopeful but guarded.
You know, I hope he learns from it, you know, for obvious reasons.
Well, he's got a lot to prove too, and we'll see what happens.
He's fixed himself, so to speak, and he's done the work, so I'm just happy to have him back.
And as Kelly led the first team offense at Lamport Stadium today, Coach Ryan Dinwiddie is putting the 30-year-old right back on the field this Thursday against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he's going to start for us. I wanted to see it today, and about halfway through practice, I had my mind made up.
But the player, the man, remains under the microscope with pressure to be better both here and outside the stadium. And in talking with Matthew Shinetti from TSN, he was also saying that this weekend is a very big test, not just on the field and how he plays, but how he reacts to a pressure-packed situation. From there, the Argonauts go to Hamilton on Labor Day, in what is probably the most pressure-packed situation they'll face in the regular season. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leithong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. It appears a strike's been averted at York University. A tentative deal has been reached between the school and the faculty. The Faculty Association says the deal will extend its collective agreement until April 30th of 2027. It includes a wage increase of 3.1% in the first year of the agreement and 2.85% in the second and third year. The school and union had been in a strike or lockout position since August 2nd. The deal still needs to be ratified.
We turn to a new campaign to combat car thefts in the city.
Toronto police and Crime Stoppers teaming up to try and put a dent in the problem. CTV's Beth McDonnell joins us live with the details. Beth.
Nathan, they're hoping cash rewards help stop the rise of auto thefts in Toronto. Cash up to $5,000.
They often come using sophisticated tactics to steal your vehicle. In Toronto, thieves are leaving thousands of people suddenly without transportation and many traumatized. In February 2023, Shaneen Ghulam Hussein's Range Rover was taken from their workplace in Scarborough.
Devastated, violated, like this happened in front of us and we didn't even know it.
Now, Crime Stoppers has launched a new campaign to raise awareness about auto theft in the city and a special program offering up to $5,000 for information, assisting investigators in identifying those responsible.
Anonymously saying something to Toronto Crime Stoppers about an auto theft crime not only keeps our community safe, but it could also save someone's life.
So far this year, auto thefts are down almost 20% compared to last year. Still, more than 5,300 vehicles have been stolen since the start of January. And while break-ins and home invasions are also down from 102 to 81, carjackings in 2024 are up from 109 to 164, an increase of 50%. CTV News spoke with vehicle owners in the Don Mills and Lawrence area about if the $5,000 reward will work.
Yes, finding out who these people are and who's doing it, I support that 100%.
Many of these cars have no security features whatsoever that keep them safe and locked and on your property. So, until the automotive industry addresses these massive flaws where you can pick a car in 30 seconds or less, $5,000, it's comforting, but it might not be all that when your car is gone.
Is it going to solve it completely? No, but I think it might decrease it.
Ghulam Hussein believes a reward to catch the culprits could help.
Definitely, but we certainly feel that the CCTV cameras across the street from our place of work were more useful than anything else.
The cash rewards will be offered until September 30th.
Turns out Ghulam Hussein's stolen vehicle was found on a street far away 2 months after it was taken and just before the family was about to buy a new vehicle. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. New details have emerged about a crash over the weekend. An assault rifle was recovered from a vehicle that struck a streetcar near Gerrard and Parliament Sunday afternoon. Officers say the driver of the Mercedes was trying to escape a traffic stop at the time. 4 people ran from the vehicle, 3 of whom were later taken into custody. Investigators say a Type 97 assault rifle was found in the Mercedes. Police are still searching for a 4th suspect.
Ontario landlords say they're receiving more tenant applications with fake information than ever before, warning that high rent and a backlog at the province's landlord-tenant board means there are bigger payoffs for the deception. CTV's John Woodward has the story.
At first glance, you can tell that it looks pretty legit.
Employment history, pay stubs, all documents submitted by a would-be tenant to Mississauga real estate agent Batul Salim. And when she phoned the numbers on them, real people answered to say it all checked out.
Something didn't sit right, so I dug a little bit deeper.
Look closely, the Walmart Canada logo changes size between documents. When she called Walmart to check, they said there's no position called Internet Sales Analyst. And the HR manager she thought she had called was someone else.
They spoke with the actual representative at the company, and she's super concerned that her identity is just being thrown around.
Landlords say digital deception is getting more common.
All in PDFs and whatnot, and these are so trivially easily edited.
Kevin Costain learned the hard way. A fire nearly destroyed the house he was renting out, costing him $480,000 to fix. He says he later learned the tenant forged application materials, something he wrote about in his book, From Rent to Ruin.
My experience even started off with fraudulent documents, including a credit report.
I had a gentleman tell me yesterday that 8 out of 10 applications that he receives is fraudulent information.
Rose Marie of the landlord's advocacy group Solo says if a fake application works, the tenant often doesn't pay rent until the case is heard at the landlord and tenant board.
Landlords say the waiting period at the Landlord and Tenant Board has dropped substantially from about a year to about 3 months for non-payment of rent. But they say more changes need to be enacted to deter fraud.
Among them, anyone who has been evicted for non-payment already be moved to the front of the line.
From the time the hearing takes place to the time the sheriff orders out, you could still be 5 or 6 months. And by the time that happens, the landlord may have lost a significant amount of money.
Salim is hoping new measures will reduce the payoff for schemes like these. John Woodward, CTV News.
Now to the looming job action by more than 9,000 employees of Canada's 2 major railways. Transit authorities say some commuter lines will be out of service if there is a strike this week. That would leave tens of thousands of people in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver looking for alternatives. Those commuter lines run on Canadian Pacific Kansas City tracks, and the routes will be suspended early Thursday if dispatchers walk off the job. The railway has said it will lock out employees unless a new contract is reached or the union agrees to binding arbitration. CPKC barred all new shipments today, and CN Rail plans to do the same tomorrow. U.S. rail operator Union Pacific has written to Canada's Labour Minister saying a strike will have devastating consequences on the North American economy.
In Gaza City, Palestinian officials say an Israeli airstrike on a school-turned-shelter killed at least 10 people. They say around 700 people were sheltering at the school when it was hit today. Israel says Hamas militants have set up a command center there and were planning and launching attacks.
Israel has recovered the bodies of 6 hostages taken in the October 7th Hamas attack that spawned the war in Gaza. The Israeli military says it recovered the bodies in an overnight operation in southern Gaza. It did not say when or how the hostages died. Hamas is still believed to be holding around 110 people. The recovery came as the United States, Egypt, and Qatar are trying to mediate a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas that would see the release of the other hostages.
In Chicago, former U.S. President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama will speak at the Democratic National Convention tonight.
The focus is now shifting to Kamala Harris and the campaign after an unofficial farewell to President Joe Biden. CTV's Joy Malvin reports.
It was a powerful speech and standing ovation for President Joe Biden.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
An emotional farewell for the man stepping aside for the next generation.
For 50 years, America, I gave my best to you.
Today, everything turns to Kamala Harris as Democrats transition from the past to the future.
We will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward.
Harris and her choice for Vice President Tim Walz take their campaign to Milwaukee, campaigning in the very same arena where Donald Trump accepted his nomination a month ago.
In the criminal justice system,
having some fun trolling Trump unveiling this new Law and Order ad.
We need a president who has spent her life prosecuting perpetrators like Donald Trump.
Harris has reshaped this race since replacing Biden, raising millions of dollars, even taking the lead against Trump in some battleground states. They have new swagger, new confidence, and that's energizing young voters.
I'm feeling joyful and excitement. It's almost like walking into a room of fresh air.
Most haven't seen this kind of enthusiasm since, well, when Barack Obama made his debut 20 years ago. Tonight, he returns to make the case for Harris, telling voters, yes, she can.
We have Kamala Harris.
And these ladies making a fashion statement, wearing their support on their sleeves.
A picture says 1,000 words. We have 1 million words here to say elect a woman for the first time, United States of America. It's way, way time. We need it, and we're going to be much better off with her in the office.
Kamala Harris is trying to build a big tent and look for some Republicans supporting her here at this convention, calling a second Trump presidency a threat to democracy. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Chicago.
And CTV News chief political correspondent Vashi Kapelos is also covering the convention this week. She joins us live now from Chicago. Vashi, late night last night, big Democratic star power on tap tonight as the Obamas are set to take the stage. What are you expecting there?
Yeah, they are set. Actually, we just got an announcement that the program's about to get underway. I expect that it's going to start earlier and go more on time because Joe Biden didn't take the stage till very late last night. And that is by design tonight, that they wanted to start on time. They want as wide an audience as possible for the Obamas during prime time. All the major national networks in the U.S. are going to carry those speeches live. They are aimed not only at motivating the Democratic base, but reintroducing Kamala Harris with a full-throated endorsement from the Obamas to the audience watching beyond this convention. I think that there are still a lot of Americans who are not super familiar with her, and she has not talked a lot about specifics as far as policy goes. She's only 4 weeks into this. So I do think that the Obamas tonight are going to try and add some meat to the bone and reintroduce her, like I said, with a big endorsement to the rest of the public.
Also of note tonight, Vashi, Republicans talking there. Talk to us about the strategy.
Yeah, you heard Joy there mentioned about the Democrats are aiming for as big a tent as possible. Both parties really are attempting that. There's going to be these never Trumpers. Ana Navarro is hosting the night. Stephanie Grisham, who was a White House press secretary, is going to speak along with Adam Kinzinger on Thursday, a big high-profile former representative in the House over there. Lots of Republicans who have kind of, in their views, seen the light against Trump. The idea is not necessarily to steal Republican votes because people who support Trump are very supportive. The idea is to go after the mushy middle, right? Those 500,000 or so key voters who are undecided, many of whom are independent, don't have a strong allegiance to the Democratic Party. The idea is for those Republicans to speak directly to them. And I think the secondary idea is to get under Trump's skin because they're going to play a video tonight of all these Republicans, in addition to the ones who are going to be speaking to the audience, talking about why they are going to support Kamala Harris. Part of that is to get under Trump's skin for sure.
You might have something to say about that. CTV News chief political correspondent Vashi Kapelos, live for us in Chicago. Thank you.
You bet, Michelle.
Canada's inflation rate has dropped to its lowest level in 40 months, and that sets the stage for another interest rate cut next month.
But as CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports, many Canadians are still feeling the financial pinch.
Across the board, inflation is coming down, putting slightly less pressure on cash-strapped consumers.
Less goods and services that consumers are purchasing these days are facing high inflation, and that's a really good sign for Canadian households.
Last month, inflation was down to 2.5%, the lowest since March 2021. The drop driven by a 2.8% annual decline in the cost of travel tours and a 1.4% drop in the cost of passenger vehicles.
Prices are stabilizing and starting to come down a touch. So really, I think we're still seeing some of the pandemic effects coming through. But overall, I mean, generally still on the services side, very positive.
But the sticker price of many goods isn't actually dropping. Rent, food prices, and shelter costs are still increasing, just at a slower rate than before.
Either it's up a little bit or it's stabilized, but I haven't seen not too much go down.
Like many Canadians, Tasso Vasilis hasn't seen any relief despite inflation coming down. What he has seen is regular customers with less disposable income choosing to come in less often.
We're high volume, and where we had people coming in maybe 3-4 times a week to the establishment, they come in maybe 1 or 2.
But economists say these are all signs the economy is slowing, and that is likely to mean more interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada.
For now, it's encouraging evidence. It keeps the Bank of Canada on track with the conviction necessary to cut again by 1/4 point in September. We have at least 1 or 2 more cuts coming thereafter toward the end of this year.
The key interest rate currently sits at 4.5%. The Bank of Canada will make its next decision on September 4th, and economists predict a 25 basis point cut. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And here at home, some early birds were treated to a spectacular sight in the morning sky today. This was the view in Toronto as the blue supermoon was disappearing below the horizon. It would happen just before sunrise as another dazzling sight unfolded for those who enjoyed the rare lunar event. There'll be 3 more supermoons this year in September, October, and November.
Summer may be winding down, but your wallet doesn't have to get wiped out on back-to-school shopping expenses. Coming up, tips from the pros on how to save dough and get the kids ready within reason.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, if you own a vehicle, do you use automatic car washes? If you do, what happens if your car gets damaged? One family says their vehicle was dented and now needs thousands of dollars in repairs after a car wash malfunctioned. I'll have my reports just ahead.
It's been a below seasonal day, but a sunny one for the most part, with the exception of some late day shower activity scattered across southern Ontario. As we head into the day tomorrow, we are holding on to this cool down, but there is a warm up on the way. Those details in a moment, and stay with us. We have another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
If you own a vehicle, you probably used an automatic car wash before, and chances are you had no issues.
But occasionally, cars are damaged during the car wash process, and if it happens, you might be surprised who's responsible for the repairs. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Nathan and Michelle, many people use car washes without any problems, but sometimes drivers make a mistake and damage their car, or the car wash causes dents or scratches. A Scarborough family says their car was damaged, but they've been told they have to pay for the repairs. At this Esso station in Scarborough, there is a Circle K automatic car wash. In June of this year, Richard Prague was using the car wash when all of a sudden it came to a complete stop.
I used the ultimate car wash at soft cloth. It jammed up against my fender.
Prague says when he left the car wash, he inspected his SUV and found a large dent on the passenger side of his 2022 Honda Pilot.
Their machine malfunctioned, bumped up against my front fender and put a big dent.
Prague told the car wash manager what happened. Repairing the dent will cost almost $3,000.
We don't have access to the video surveillance, so unless we had a dash cam or something, we have no proof.
Circle K agreed to an investigation, but the company said there was no proof the dent was caused by the car wash and the case was closed. A spokesperson also told CTV News, "We have received the complaint about this issue. Following a thorough review by our operations team, we found no evidence of responsibility on our part." A month after the incident, there is still a sign at the car wash that says currently the ultimate wash is unavailable. That's the wash option Prague used. You are taking a bit of a risk anytime you use an automatic car wash, according to Circle K's website. Circle K shall not be liable for any damage or injury whatsoever caused by the car wash, including damage caused to you, the vehicle, your property, or to any person in your vehicle. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says damage caused by a car wash could be covered by the car wash's liability policy, but if they won't pay, the owner may have to go through their own insurance. The Pragues say if they make a claim, they'll have to pay a $1,000 deductible.
Quite an expensive cost for us when it's not even our fault.
And many vehicles have scratches and dents, so it can be difficult to prove if they were done by a car wash. To avoid damage, you can use a touchless car wash, a coin-operated spray wash, or hand wash it yourself in your driveway. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, this is a good week to get a car wash, whatever form, because we don't have rain, right?
Yes.
We've got bright blue sky, and it's going to warm up steadily. So if you're feeling chilly, don't worry, it's coming.
Yeah, and of course, you don't want to jinx it because, you know, anytime I wash the car, it seems to
It's
rain at night. Well, yeah, it looks like we're going to have clear skies for a while.
We do have an area of high pressure that really settles in and sits over us over the next couple of days. So the cool down is not for me, but I just have to wait till the weekend because things will change as we head in towards our Saturday and our Sunday. It's not terribly below that seasonal mark, but that wind really has made such a difference as we've made our way throughout the day. But the good news is it's on the up and up as we head in towards the end of the week. If you were out early on today, you saw that little bit of sunshine out there. It wasn't warm sunshine, but it was sunshine nonetheless. And as we made our way throughout the afternoon, we steadily warmed up, kind of landing just shy of seasonal. A few late day passing showers into kind of certain parts of the core and then the east end. But really, as we settle in towards the evening, we are holding on to just a few light clouds out there, and temperature-wise, it's really not all that bad. Northern Ontario, still kind of the hot spot. They're experiencing some of the warmth that's impacting central and southern portions of Saskatchewan, Manitoba. For us here in central and southern Ontario, Bit of a different story. We're sitting at 18 right now, 21 through Windsor and 17 in Ottawa. Now, this evening, winds become significantly lighter, but still mostly a northerly flow, so it's a little fresh, some single digits out there. For the city, we're sitting at 10. We should be at 15. So again, it's not wildly below where we should be, but noticeably different. We're holding on to just 6 degrees through Waterloo, 8 through Peterborough, 9 in Orillia, so it's a little fresh, a little crispy as you head throughout the rest of your evening. But as we head into the day tomorrow, we get a little closer to seasonal, sitting around 23 once again. But we're still watching for some lingering showers through eastern Ontario as a trough continues to sink its way down, that blue dotted line right there. And this system will kind of sit eastern Ontario, southern Quebec, and bring them a few scattered showers as we head throughout the day tomorrow. For the rest of our evening, though, it's relatively quiet out there. Just a few light clouds as we head through the overnight, and really no massive change as we head into the day tomorrow. A rinse and repeat forecast. If you like this cooler summer weather, tomorrow is for you. As we head throughout the afternoon, a few midday clouds, and then it clears out once again. And there's really not much to write home about. It'll be super nice as we head through the end of the week, and temperatures then slowly start to climb. So if you miss the summertime heat, just wait until Friday. And as we step in towards the end of the week, it really does get quite beautiful. The main note here, it's a whole lot of sunshine. High pressure really does settle in quite nicely. And after so much rain over the weekend, we start to settle into a much drier forecast. We get through our Wednesday, our Thursday. We're sitting just a little shy of that seasonal mark. As we head in towards Friday, though, that's when the rebound starts to take place. It gets a little nicer out there. The slow and steady climb back towards where we should be. We'll sit through Saturday and Sunday right around the seasonal mark, a little warmer as we head in towards the end of the weekend. So great if you're getting out to the CNE or any of the other tons of activities that happen around the GTA this time of year. Looking into next week, we stay above seasonal for the daytime highs and overnight lows. So if you miss the heat, you don't have to wait very long. Just kind of plug it in as we head through the weekend, and we're going to head into what is going to be a beautiful stretch as we get ready to say so long to the month of August. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Jess. Also tonight, celebrity endorsements. Some of Hollywood's biggest names are in Chicago attending the Democratic National Convention. But can they sway voters? Have you started your back-to-school shopping? From backpacks to books, the list of must-have items is long and can be expensive.
But there are ways to get your kids ready for class without breaking the bank. CTV's John Musselman reports.
Mississauga mother Roman Gill has 3 kids in primary school. She expects to spend a couple of $100s at this local Walmart getting her kids all the things they need for a return to the classroom. Still, she tries to be reasonable with her spending.
You definitely do. You know, you can't really splurge as much with inflation. You have to kind of be mindful this time.
And Gill is not alone. Retailers know consumers are watching their dollars. At this Staples store in Scarborough, parents and students can experience one-stop shopping, school supplies for all different ages, and the latest technology, including laptops, iPads, and cell phones.
We're trying to make it easy for people to determine not only their needs, but obviously shouting out a basket that's going to drive some value for customers.
Retail experts say parents can save a few dollars by doing an inventory on what the kids have right now.
So what do you have from last year and what can we reuse that, you know, something's still good. We can reuse a backpack or a lunch bag or something like that. We don't have to completely go out and buy everything new.
Shopping around is also a good idea. Cassidy recommends an app called the Flip app that will compare prices for you.
So you can search for a backpack or a certain school supply and it will pull up all of the grocery store flyers in your local area and it will compare those prices for you.
I think value is certainly top of mind for Canadians. I mean, we've received some really good news this morning with respect to inflation, but we do understand that things may be a little bit tight for consumers.
Back in Mississauga, Gil's shopping cart was filling up fast. Her kids will be back in school in just 2 weeks. John Musselman, CTV News in Mississauga.
And the city's out with its list of fall recreation programs. Options among the 16,000 registered courses include swimming lessons, fitness classes, art workshops, and cooking classes. The city says there are approximately 157,000 spaces this year. Registration opens on September 10th, with programming set to start September 28th. You can sign up online, over the phone, or in person.
Political parties have always had their famous supporters, and conventions are no different.
Throughout the week, a number of celebrities are scheduled to appear at the Democratic National Convention. CTV's Andrea Cages joins us now with a look at the stars who've hitched their wagon to Kamala Harris. Andrea.
Absolutely. Nathan and Michelle, good evening. Well, with day one in the books, there are facts and there are rumors about who'll be attending, but here is what we know.
Hand up!
The Soul Children of Chicago kicked off the night with their rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. Beyoncé wasn't there, but her music was. Vice President and Democratic nominee Kamala Harris surprised Dems walking out to her theme song, Freedom by Beyoncé. Even those closest to her seemed surprised. From a hopeful future president to a fictitious one. Actor, director, and activist Tony Goldwyn, who played the president on the TV drama Scandal, was the evening's host. His TV co-star, Kerry Washington, will host the convention on Thursday, Mindy Kaling on Wednesday, and The View co-host Ana Navarro tonight. Offstage at adjacent events this week, appearances by John Legend, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Jon Stewart, and Lil Jon. Fresh off his Team USA men's basketball gold medal win at the Olympics, former Chicago Bulls player turned Team USA coach Steve Kerr.
I know very well that speaking out about politics these days comes with risks. I can see the shut up and whistle tweets being fired off as we speak. But I also knew as soon as I was asked that it was too important as an American citizen not to speak up in an election of this magnitude.
Country singer Mickey Guyton is a familiar face to Democrats. She campaigned for President Biden and Barack Obama. Folk singer Jason Isbell performed early in the evening, but Grammy winner James Taylor's performance between Jill and Joe Biden's speeches was cut because the program ran too long. Conventions always draw celebrities. Jason Aldean, Kid Rock, and professional wrestler Hulk Hogan, as well as Dana White, Lee Greenwood, and Amber Rose appeared at the Republican National Convention. You could mistake this man for Cuba Gooding Jr., but this man was Stephen Colbert, shooting a segment for his late-night show.
I really thought it was Cuba Gooding Jr. Okay, in addition to the rumors Beyoncé will attend at some point this week, another rumor is that Taylor Swift, whose European tour in London wraps up tonight, may also hit the convention. Again, neither woman is confirmed, but we're still talking about it. Rumors, rumors, rumors. Reporting for CTV News, I'm Andrea Case. Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Andrea. 2 actors have been added to the list of performers who will be recognized by the Toronto International Film Festival this year. Jarrell Jerome will receive the TIFF Tribute Performer Award for his work in films such as Moonlight, When They See Us, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The Hollywood star is joined by Chinese actress Zhao Tao, who will get the special tribute. Those pics were flipped there, but you get the point. Award for her career of memorable collaborations. Her collaborations include Still Life and Ash is the Purest White. Both will be honored during a soiree on September 8th.
After the break, pushing the limits of pedal power at just 12 years old and cycling across the continent. We follow the 2-month journey coming up.
We have a breezy northwesterly wind carrying us through to the end of the day, and temperatures will remain below seasonal. So a light layer may be a good idea if you're planning on spending some time outside. Coming up, we'll have a recap of your full 7-day forecast.
We will ban drug consumption sites within 200 meters of schools and child care centers.
Updating our top stories, Ontario is closing 10 supervised consumption sites. 5 of them are in Toronto. The province says the move is intended to help more people get help and keep communities safe. The government says 19 homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs will be set up. The chair of Toronto's Board of Health says the closures will have far-reaching detrimental impacts on our communities.
I'm sorry for my actions. I'm sorry for what I did. I affected a lot of people, my teammates, my coaches, women, my family. I feel bad for the situation that happened.
Toronto Argonaut quarterback Chad Kelly spoke today after being reinstated by the CFL. He was suspended in May for violating its gender-based violence policy. Kelly was accused of sexual harassment by a former team strength and conditioning coach.
Anonymously saying something to Toronto Crime Stoppers about an auto theft crime not only keeps our community safe, but could also save someone's life.
Crime Stoppers has launched a campaign to raise awareness about auto theft. There's also a program offering up to $5,000 to help investigators identify those responsible. Auto thefts have declined so far this year, but carjackings have increased.
Remember to keep up to date day and night through our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca, and by downloading the CTV News app.
It looks like Canada's in for more interest rate cuts, and that might be great news for investors in dividend-paying stocks. Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg has the details.
Hello there. Canadian inflation has dropped to the lowest in 3 years, with the annual rate declining to 2.5% as of July. And that increases chances that the Bank of Canada will cut interest rates again on September 4th. Citigroup economist Veronica Clark thinks more rate reductions are coming, including a jumbo cut of 0.5 percentage point in October. Lower rates make dividend-paying stocks more attractive, and CIBC predicts that Canadian investors are poised to pour more than $200 billion into stocks with rich dividend yields in industries including utilities, real estate and telecom. On the markets, the Canadian dollar was at 73.42 US cents, up a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil traded at $73.17, down 49 cents. Western Canadian Select oil was at $58.83, down $1.89. And the TSX Composite ended at 23,037.44, down just under 79 points. That's the latest in business from B&M Bloomberg. I'm Andrew Bell.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
About 100 Canadian employees of Skip the Dishes are being laid off. So are 700 workers at the parent company, JustEatTakeaway.com. The company says the move is necessary to ensure the right resources and organizational structure are in place to drive sustainable growth. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays are looking to bounce back as they host Cincinnati for Game 2 of their series tonight.
Base is going to be Guerrero. And Guerrero lifts a high fly ball to left, and he got every bit of it.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his 26th homer, and Ernie Clement also went yard, but Toronto lost last night's opener 6-3. Jose Barrios is scheduled to start for the Jays this evening.
To the soccer pitch, the Canadian men's team will play a friendly against Panama at BMO Field October 15th. Canada is 3-2-5 against its opponent, winning 2-0 in their most recent matchup at the 2023 CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. The Canadians are coming off an impressive fourth-place finish at the 2024 Copa America tournament.
Just ahead, what were you doing when you were 12? A GTA boy completes an epic adventure with his dad, biking from Mexico to Canada. His story next.
Tonight, Canada's inflation rate cools to a 40-month low.
We're starting to see the end of the food inflation tunnel.
What it means for the Bank of Canada's next big interest rate decision. Later on CTV National News.
This 12-year-old will certainly have some great stories to tell when he's back in school.
He embarked on quite the adventure over his holidays, traveling across the continent on his bicycle. CTV's Rahim Ladani has the story.
It's steep, to say the least. This is absolute insanity.
Meet Ewan Marchant, who at 12 years old is bold, fearless, and seeks out adventure.
I thought that, well, this is better than being on your computer and you learn nice things and you see good places, so why not?
After 5 years of convincing his mother, Ewan and his father Warwick finally got the green light this past June to pack their bicycles, fly from Toronto to Puerto Palomas, Mexico, and begin a 2-month journey to Banff, Alberta.
Before Ewan came along, I hiked from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. I learned a lot out of it, and I really enjoyed it, and I sort of wanted to share that with him.
That may just look like white specks to you, but those are all sheep.
So off they went, following the Continental Divide Trail, covering around 80 kilometers a day.
All my hands hurt really bad, and my legs were sore.
I was certainly really tired at times where I just wanted to close my eyes in the day. But it was good. Like, I think we really got into the rhythm of it.
Part of that rhythm meant adapting to their surroundings, such as eating popcorn and ramen for dinner, and figuring out how to stay warm during the unexpected.
We had a dust storm that completely ruined all the zippers in our tent, and my inflatable mattress became uninflatable. And from then on, we had the mosquitoes coming in through the zippers.
It's those short-term obstacles, though, that imparted lifelong lessons.
Every time a bad thing happens on the trail, you think, oh no, this is horrible, it's gonna ruin everything. But after you've done it, you're like, this wasn't so bad.
And that perseverance paid off when after 2 months, they reached the Canadian border.
Across the country, very accomplished. What do you think was your favorite part so far?
Every part. After cycling to their final stop in Banff, Ewan and Warwick returned home to the GTA this past weekend, where they can now safely share some of their stories with Mom.
When we saw bears and things, I definitely had to pull the... I was trying to figure out whether I'd go for the bear spray or the camera, and then I realized I had to go for Ewan.
And as for Ewan, after covering nearly 4,500 kilometers...
I do think that the journey was definitely worth it. And we saw all these interesting things and met all these interesting people.
Hoping to inspire others to chase the great outdoors. Raheem Ladani, CTV News.
Amazing 12-year-old and an amazing story.
I can't get my kids to go for a bike ride around the block. I mean, I'm so impressed.
I'm living vicariously, and I'm also like, I'm an inside person, so I'm like, good for them, because I would not be that brave. The weather looked great there, and it's fantastic for us, too. And as we head into the next couple of days, if you want to do a shorter distance ride or a longer distance ride, it'll be super nice outside. We are holding on to a cooler northwesterly wind as we head into the day tomorrow as well, so maybe a couple of, I don't want to say layers, but a light jacket might be a good idea as we go through the start of the day, but it warms up. We're still watching for some spotty showers into the east end of the city. Folks out through Pickering may be seeing a few of those, and then definitely through Ottawa as we head through the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Still that northerly flow adding that bit of freshness to the air. Sitting at 18 here in the city, but we are on that slow but steady climb back to seasonal and then above. And as we head through the next 7 days, that's a whole lot of sunshine. I'll take it.
Yes, sirree. Gorgeous. Thank you, Jess. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sejadina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a great night.